What's up, Cuzzy Wuzzies? You're listening to the Bay Ridge Boys, History Hyenas. Bad. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the History Hyenas. Chrissy Cauliflower, Yana Yaya Hair, Mikey Mush, and we got our guest. Our guest today, the one and only Seaton Smith. Kids, put together kid, a handsome kid, a funny kid, a Taekwondo kid. He's a martial artist kid.
He's somebody who will hurt. Make no mistake, he'll hurt you.
He'll hurt you.
He'll hurt you.
He'll hurt you, and he likes.
He doesn't have a violent personality, but if it came to it,
he could hurt you.
You'll get a swift kick.
He's a kid that you wouldn't know that could hurt you, but he can really hurt you. He'll roll around. The thing is with me, though, if you roll around with me, I'll come. That's the thing. That's how.
That's your defense.
That's how I defense. Like if you got me in, if you started rolling around me doing jujitsu,
some octopuses as a defense, they squirt like an ink at you.
Yeah,
that's what Chrissy. That's his defense.
And Giannis's defense. Giannis is a biter.
I'll bite.
Giannis is a grown man that bites. So if you fight Giannis, you can do it, but be prepared to get bit.
I don't fight fair.
Make sure you have your up-to-date vaccinations if you want to fight Giannis.
Yeah. I know this is all being funny, but I've actually seen Giannis smack a few people in the world.
Please tell us about that.
Show. Oh, yeah.
That was during a dark time in my life.
It was a great.
That's
time.
when he looked like a fat woman. He used to look like a fat lesbian woman.
Oh,
and now he's cute again.
Yeah, it was one of the greatest nights of my life. It was at Bar 4, and we were having a wonderful show. It was Bar 4.
Bar 4, which is Giannis's old room in Park Slope.
Yeah, he was one of the first people to put me on in New York, by the way. I used to come up visit him from D.C., and he was like, yeah, come on, why not? He was a wonderful guy.
Yeah, we've been friends since 08, 07,
08. Yeah, during
I went to D.C., we shot a sketch.
Yeah, God.
Yeah.
You were not were, but you taught me about acting that day. I was like, wow, this guy's great. But anyways, the day he beat up these people, he was on stage and he's talking and he's trying to actually be you actually trying to be patient that day. I want to make that clear.
I've been worse.
Yes.
I've been worse.
He was being very nice. There was these 3 people in the back who decided they wanted to not actually watch the show, even though there were signs up. They just decided to be an asshole. And Giannis said maybe 3 or 4 times, hey, excuse me, guys, hey, we're trying to do a show. And then they did ignore it. And I think probably like the 4th comic, he just said something, was like, man, fuck you. And get the fuck out. Something very, very good. And they left, but then decided the woman of the group decided that
now he's choking on trail mix.
Giannis
is what Yanni makes every podcast Cardinal Sid. Phone on, eating, choking.
Jesus. He's still coughing.
No, listen, if he's gonna die, nobody give him the Heimlich. Go start streaming it live.
Yeah, put it on the Patreon.
It's content. His wife would understand.
Oh, I love this.
Sorry.
I hear you. You don't want to talk about this assault charge. That's why I started coughing. It's smooth. Yeah. It's very smooth.
This was one of many nights that went.
So what happened?
Okay. So there were 2 guys, one woman. The woman decides she wants to be an asshole, so she walks onto the stage.
She came at me, and I was telling her, "Don't do it." As she was walking, I was going, "Don't do it," because I saw it in her face. I knew it.
Right.
So she got into his face and was like, "You're an asshole." And I want to say she touched him in some way. And Giannis.
Oh yeah, she hit me. She punched me.
She hit you. She hit you in the chest. It was hilarious.
No, chest in the face.
Oh, she hit the face.
She hit a guy with glasses.
She hit me right in the face.
She did.
Well, in her defense, she thought you were a woman at that
Probably.
time.
Probably. That's the thing I didn't consider till now.
Probably.
Yeah.
And so Giannis, as a gentleman, nicely and gently, he didn't hit her with a fist. He didn't kick her. He didn't do it.
Yeah.
He just took the microphone.
I was holding it.
He was holding it, and he just kind of put it into her face.
Yeah, it just kind of went in there.
Right where in her ear.
Yeah, I thought she had something to say, but I did it a little too hard.
Yeah.
And the sound of that microphone mushing her face. We were all like, oh. And so the dudes were like, hey, you don't hit a woman. And then it was fun because everybody in the room decided to fight those 2 dudes.
Really? Was it a brawl turned into like a brawl?
He came forward after that. So after that, she went flying that way.
She went flying.
Yeah, because I just kind of like mushed her, but I had the mic in my hand, so you could hear the pop. And so she went flying that way, but she caught me with a nice one. It hurt.
Was. No, it was a hard, it was a Deontay Wilder.
And she did, I told you, she did like a little Sugar Ray. She did a little sugar. She went, I'm not English, because I was like making fun of her accent. I'm not English, I'm Irish, and I'm about to show you how Irish I am. And she did like a little Sugar Ray 2-step, and I looked down. And that's why she did it, for me to look down. And then when I was looking up, it was just coming.
Gypsy King, your ass. Hell
Yeah, she got me. And then, so he walked forward. He's like, hey, you fucking hit her? And he was coming. And as he was coming, I just took my glasses off, put him on the piano.
It was amazing.
Yeah, and he just walked up. And as soon as he got on the stage, I just punched him.
Right in the face.
And then I fell on him and I bit him in the clinch.
Yeah.
You bit him.
I did bite him.
Yeah, and then the entire crowd fucking jumped on them to stop them and kicked them out. And then once they kicked out, I think Hyenas might have said, all right, next comic, Seaton. And
Really?
Yeah, we continued the show.
Yeah, we continued the show.
It was a
Did
great
you have a good
show.
set?
It was an amazing show. It was amazing. I mean, when the crowd fights for you, they're gonna laugh afterward.
Bar 4 was a kind of a jail rules kind of show. It was like anything could happen.
Right.
There was one night where my favorite was when this drunk Mexican strolled in, and I made fun of him all the way. He was one of those guys who obviously like worked all day and just got hammered, and then just strolled in looking for like a beer or a bathroom, and he just stumbles in, and he goes to the bathroom. I made fun of him all the way to the bathroom, and then on the way back, I was making fun of him more. Everyone was laughing. He stopped, and he was like, "I'm gonna come back. I'm going to kill everybody. I'm gonna kill everybody." And he left, and everyone got really nervous. The bartender locked the bottom of the door, and it happened real quick. Everyone was scared, and I was like, guys. I was laughing at with the mic. I was going, dude, that nothing is going to happen. That guy is hammered. He's going to go fall into some trash bags and fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, relax. But it was like another night. I mean, so many things happened.
Wait, one more. Second favorite story at Bar 4 for me was when you and your ex got into a fight, right?
Oh, via the stage?
Yeah, via the
She
stage.
got punched in the face too?
No.
They just kept saying.
Yanni hits women.
He like to hit women once in a while.
He doesn't have a hitting women.
Clip it.
No, they were just saying shitty things to each other. They kept taking the stage and saying passive-aggressive shitty things to each other. And I want to say it started off when Hyenas said, like, this is the problem when you bring, acts who aren't as good of you on the road with you. Like, kind of something like that.
I said something probably dickish. Yeah.
Dickish, just like, this weak-ass comic in front of me. I'm helping her out, and she's acting like an ass. One of those kind of like, oh. And then she got on stage. She was like, Nick, you're just jealous because Seaton had a better joke than you, and you're just bucking bombing on stage. You try to take it on me. And then he got back on stage and said something else equally as shitty. And it got so bad to the point where she left, and Hyenas kind of stayed at the bar like, yeah, I don't think I can go home after that one.
Yeah, it was a show where I would get too drunk. I was going through a dark time because my mom's Alzheimer's was flaring up, and I was living there.
Yeah, your mom's Alzheimer's was flaring up, and so was your girl's career.
So her career was
She was hot ticket.
at that point. She had
She's
hit.
stuck in the mud again.
Yeah. At that point, it was before she had flared up. So it was like I was trying to. That was during the period I was trying to hold her down.
Yeah.
And
Been there.
but yeah, it was dark.
There's a lot of transition.
and I would get too drunk. But it was wild. And like sometimes I would do 40 minutes, sometimes I would do 10, sometimes I would do 5. It was just a free room. And that was the personality of the room. It was a little too crazy. Could have been run a little better. But it was a pure room.
The
And
bar is closed. So it's really like, you know what? You did perfect.
Yeah. And I still think the Chris Laker Awards. Did you come to the Chris Laker Awards?
No.
I still think that was the most punk rock moment.
But tell who Chris Laker. Explain it.
We did.
Who's Chris Laker?
We were making fun of, at the time there was the ECNY Awards. Remember those?
Yes, God.
So one time, me and Nate had a podcast back then called "It Could Be Better." Yeah, the fans heard that episode.
Yeah, it could be better. What
could be better is our
camera guy's now on the road with Nate.
Yeah. So he's the artist formerly known as Nate. Now he's the artist known as Jesus because that's what his fucking ego's.
That's what his ego says.
I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
I was just kidding around.
No, I'm
Got
not.
6-year-old kids in the crowd.
Yeah. So we just started making fun of the ECNY. I was like, this is bullshit. And I was like, and then Chris Laker, who was on our podcast too, he was like, yeah, he goes like, yeah, I'm going to do the Chris Laker Awards. And we laughed. And I was like, let's do that. And they were like, what? And I was like, no, we're going to fucking do that. So we went and made a banner, like a real banner. We put it at Bar 4. We made up all these fake awards. The awards were hilarious. It was like, and what happened was Ted Alexandro, who's a great moral person and a great comic, he won best stand-up comedian or best comedian for the ECNY Awards, and he didn't show up or he didn't accept it.
Why didn't he accept
Because
it?
he just said award shows are stupid.
Right.
So we did a Ted Alexandra award, and we told him, and he came and he wore a suit because he knew ours was a joke. Which is like, if you're gonna do comedy awards, that's what it should be.
Yeah,
this isn't a zero-sum game here. And like that's for actors who want to sniff their own ass.
Yes,
let's just make it a big fucking goof and have fun. So we had awards like, I remember best female comedian, and what we did, this was my favorite. We had a lot of jokes, a lot of funny ones, but my favorite was best female comedian. What we did was we put a bunch of female comedians' names in a fishbowl, and we just picked whatever out. We were like, Leah Bottomoff.
She won?
She won. Best black comedian was John Moses. He won.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
We had so many funny ones. And Chris Laker, me and Nate kept going up and just reintroducing Chris Laker as if it was going to be somebody else, but it was just Chris Laker again and again and again.
And what would he do?
He would do the joke we had written and about the whatever award. They were all joke awards. Every award was dumb.
It was like an award show roast kind of thing.
Yeah, most likely to die. I think it was at the time Soder and Joe List were drinking. Joe List had just gotten herpes. When he did it, Joe List won most likely to die, and he got up and his speech, he told the whole room, it was packed with comics. He told the whole room he had got herpes, and he told the stage, like,
so
hey,
he had just recently gotten it.
It's been a great year for me. He's like, I definitely have a drinking problem. I shit my pants. That's in that Seattle competition, and I got herpes. And then he was like, thank you, everybody.
And people were like, what?
It was fucking rock. It was so punk rock, man.
Wow.
And we were like, afterwards, we were like, well, we're going to do it every year because it was such a hit. Everyone was partying. We were drinking, and then we had a DJ afterwards, and it just turned into a big party. And I was like, no. I was like, let's never, ever do it again. It's just one.
Smart.
And then they never did the ECN war. After that, the ECNY wars just like mysteriously died. They never did it again. Because I think we lampooned it so hard, we brought out kind of the truth of like, hey, this is all bullshit. We're comedians. We don't fucking stand there with statues and go like, I want to thank my publicist and,
We don't make lists anymore, do we? Is our list?
They still have lists, but it's almost like it's almost like now, if you're a comedian that makes one of those lists, it's like you most likely have roommates who are not doing well at all in your career, because I feel like they pick people to put on those lists where I'm like, I've never heard of any of these people and I know they don't really work. So, but they made a list. So it's like, I guess that's good, but it's like, now I wouldn't want to be on your list.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. It's like almost like you're corny now if you're on a list. I don't know.
Is the alt scene over? Or is it still going? Because like, remember it was like everyone wanted to get on certain shows.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm big.
What's the
terrific.
big alt show now?
Yeah.
Is there an alt? I don't know. Oh, the Butterboy show maybe?
Yeah, but I think probably Butterboy's the biggest. I mean, I think.
Have you ever done it?
Yeah, I love Butterboy.
I've never done it. I never
You should do
I'm
it.
just like not in that circle
Not in a
anymore.
circle anymore. at all.
Comedians You Should Know has a really good one.
That's Chicago though, right?
Chicago, and
That one I did. That was nice.
the one in the behind the Golan Alley.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really.
Do they have it in New York?
Yeah, I'm saying the one in the gutter in Williamsburg.
Oh, okay.
We have it every Wednesday. That's a really good one.
Good show.
Yeah,
Chicago's got a good scene.
Chicago's
right?
an amazing scene. I mean, they have such a great generation of people. I mean, with Hannibal and TJ and Kumail.
Yeah.
And Kumail Nanjiani. Let me tell you a random story with this dude. I remember 2007 or 2008 or 9, it was a DC comedy festival, and we were all doing the whole Eddie Brill. Remember the Eddie Brill auditions and shit?
Sure.
Oh God, for Letterman and stuff. And it was like 14 comics on this one show, DC Improv, and everybody was bombing because we had to do our late night set, not address the crowd, that kind of horrible kind of show. And I think Kamal was the only one person who was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to address the crowd. And instead of doing his 4 minutes, he ended up doing like 9 or 10 minutes, just going, blowing the light. And I remember he got like lectured by Eddie Brill. You don't do that. You hurt everybody. You're being selfish. And I think like 2 months later, he was on Letterman.
Yeah, I believe it.
That's how it works.
That's
I believe it. Oh yeah. That's how it shit always works.
It always works that way.
You know?
Dude, he's a movie star now. And he's jacked.
Jacked movie star.
No, not
Kamal Nanjiani.
No, he's talking about Kumail Bell. We're talking about Kumail Nanjiani?
No, I'm talking about Tom Nugent.
Oh, Nujani. Oh, Kumail.
Wow, you got your
Name
Kamals confused.
Kamal's.
It is
Kumail-
a coincidence that there's 2 comedians named Kumail.
No, his is Kunal. Oh, that's Kunal Aurora.
No, you're mixing up completely different Indians. Yeah. Kunal is a
Kunal Nanjiani.
Right.
He's like
He's great. He's Jack now.
he's in the Avengers.
Yeah, I know who he is. He's
in
great.
a fucking
Kumail.
Avengers movie.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Kumail.
Yes, Kumail.
That's Kumail, and
Yeah.
then Kunal is actually the comic.
Right. And then there's W. Kumail Bell.
Kumail Bell.
Kumail Bell.
That's-
Oh,
It's
their
got nothing
names
to do
are
with that.
different. Kumail and Kunal.
Yeah.
They're close though.
Yeah.
That's like Hyenas and
They're close. And the
Hyenas
fact that
and
we
Giannis.
just said that now is, we're racist against Indians.
Now,
what can you do?
We're gonna
The
Indians for trying to understand.
We were talking about this last episode. Other races have, black people are so cool that Giannis made the good point. Now their plight has been stolen. Like Indians are just like, no, we're victims too. It's like, what are you talking? You got to this country 20 years ago. You guys
got here in the
great.
70s.
You can't steal that from black people.
One generation, you guys are crushing it. South Asians are more successful on average than white people in America, and like they're going like we're so oppressed. It's like that's kind of like spitting in the face of black people to me. It's like I think I only see two groups that have been institutionally oppressed in this country, and that's blacks and Greeks.
No, Native Americans.
No, blacks and obviously Native Americans. Native Americans, that was a little, they got wiped out by disease and war. But blacks have been constantly like institutionally oppressed over and over. And now it's like everyone's kind of acting that way. It's kind of, I think it's because black people are so cool and everyone steals other aspects of black culture. Now they're stealing your fucking story too.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. First you take our gun.
Now they're taking your struggle.
Now the thing is, even Sean King is just saying he's black.
Sean King said he was black?
Sean King, you know the guy Sean King who's like, he's fully white, but he's like, I'm black, and he took a black scholarship, but he actively says he's black.
Oh. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I fully believe, and this has nothing to do with the guy who outed him, because he was Milo Popovich?
Yeah, I don't care about
alt-right
the alt-right garbage
But
bullshit.
the truth is, I think he's white.
Mm-hmm.
His brother's
like a Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, his brother's white.
Rachel Dolezal, though, I actually am on her side. Did you ever watch Did you ever see her documentary?
I love the documentary.
I got no problem with
what my head.
At the end of the documentary, I said, "Fine, you're black."
Yes,
she
exactly.
is committed to it.
Exactly.
She is not giving it up.
And, she was the whole the story where like the whole reason she became black is because her whole family was raping and beating the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah.
So she's like, I only trust black people.
She was
I'd rather be
like
around blacks.
some weird religious family, right?
Yeah,
I get it.
You can't judge the woman.
The only problem I have with the Rachel Dolezals and Sean Kings of the world, because whatever they want to do to help the community, that's great, is when they take
when they lie about it. Well,
not even the lie is fine. That's not hurting anybody. What is hurting someone is like Sean King got a scholarship to
he got an Oprah scholarship.
An Oprah scholarship to
a black college.
To a black college.
Yeah.
So you took that from an actual black person. That's a problem. And then Rachel Dolezal, same thing. She was taking opportunity away from positions that were designed to be for blacks.
Yeah. I mean,
but other stuff is fine. You want to help people, that's great. Say whatever the fuck you want.
I mean, we talked about it like ad infinitum on the last episode, but the Sean King thing. It's
ad infinitum, you're gay.
Yeah.
And my shirt says, yep, I'm gay.
Yeah.
I don't know about the Sean King. Is this the same Sean King? Is this the dude you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, but if you look at his baby picture.
And his family picture.
Oh, absolutely.
So what happened was
brother.
He was just everyone who he grew up with says they thought he was black or whatever. He always said he was black or whatever. His family's white, and then somebody found his birth certificate and his father, that's his father. That's the father on the birth certificate.
That's his brother.
So that's his brother and that's his mother.
Oh shit.
So they're all white.
But he does have that black, like that blackish type of haircut.
Well, no, show him as a kid, because he looked like me as a kid. That's just one picture.
With the baby picture right there in the corner?
Go to the baby. That's him as a kid down there.
Look like you.
Mike takes a while with these. Oh, you can't see. Oh, that's the problem. You can't even see it.
Oh, it's a bad.
Just go baby picture. Go Sean King baby picture.
I love that we're just talking about this again.
I want to
know.
the same thing. Yeah. So
I don't know why. I mean, we're taking
after the guy. Yeah. So after it was found out that the birth certificate said his father was this guy, the guy on the left.
Right. What happened?
He said, well, what happened was my mother had an affair with a very, very light-skinned black guy, some anonymous, very light-skinned black guy. And that's what it was. And it was very painful to out. But it's like, why are you referring to him as a very, very light-skinned black guy? One. Two is like, you don't know his name? Can't you ask your mom his name?
Oh, wow.
You don't know his name.
What do you hate her?
That's a funny phrase. Listen, my father was very, very light.
He's a very, very light-skinned black guy.
Oh, wow.
So wait, let's watch that video. Let's go back to that video.
Now, let's do some pauses. I would have.
Huh?
That's a picture with him and Cornel West. He got real deep.
It was
in
an
the black
ad.
world.
Hell yeah.
So that's him on the right. That's a baby
what's funny,
picture of him right.
Like, I don't know if y'all know about black culture, but like, if there is a light-skinned black person around, you don't question whether they're black or not, because light-skinned black people are the most sensitive people in the world. They really they're trying to overcompensate and prove themselves. So like
that they're black.
Yeah, like, all the most militant black civil rights leaders were all light-skinned. All the peaceful
Thurgood Marshall was Colin Powell, but Thurgood Marshall.
Oh, no, those are not good examples. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton. those are light-skinned crazy motherfuckers.
Right. But they weren't as light-skinned as like Thurgood Marshall and Colin Powell were like light-skinned.
That's a different kind of light skin.
Yeah.
Those were light skins for money. Light skin. Those are two different light skins. There's a militant light
We're
skin.
naming this episode light skin for money.
Light-skinned for money.
There's a Jack and Jill light skin. Those are people that like they had a kind of a good track record since slavery. So they got into the good schools and they were in the good, like they got the money. But like, yeah, so Thurgood Marshall is not that example.
Right.
He had a good life the entire time.
Right.
So
because if you're that light-skinned, you kind of can slip by.
you passed the paper bag test. The paper bag, because I mean Howard University and most schools had that test, the paper bag test for a while. So now you.
Wait, what's the paper
is the
bag
paper
test?
bag
You have to be
test?
darker than a paper bag?
No, if you were darker than the paper bag, you could not get into the school.
Really?
Oh, you don't know about that? Yeah, that was an old Howard thing from like the 20s and 30s, where like, we don't like. That's why most of all the Tuskegee Airmen, if you watch the picture, they're all light skinned. They didn't like dark niggas. fly.
Wait, that was at Howard? Though?
Really?
Wait,
Yeah.
the paper
I
bag
didn't
test was
fucking
at
know
Howard?
This is at Howard, but it was most of the HBCUs were like this, but Howard specifically had the paper bag test.
So even if
That's
you were dark-skinned black, you still couldn't get into the HBCUs.
That's a black school, so black people were doing that?
Black people
People are just shit. We're all shitty.
Yeah, no,
we're just all shitty.
Yeah, of course we are. Of course we are.
We're just every single human being, every race and creed. Most of the people in that race and creed, no matter who they are just shitty people.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's just shitty. We just fucking whatever's closest to us will fuck up. Is what we do.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I've been saying this.
Just shitty.
We're just shit people.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at even us as human beings, as the animal that's made at this farm. I mean, we've killed 99% of things that have existed with us. I mean, even where do we find that the actual Neanderthal that we're
well, that's a weird thing that I don't think anyone knows what to make of it. But they found out that only Europeans have traces of Neanderthal DNA.
European descended white people.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Asians don't have it. Blacks don't have it. So there could be a reason why whites are evil.
Yeah, white people we don't have good track records in history.
No, but here's the other
But we're
thing.
being good now.
They're also
For the most
learning.
part.
They're also learning that Neanderthals. First of all, they were another human. They were another type of human.
Yeah,
and they also
not
weren't
everyone's
as
created equal.
they weren't
That's
as
the problem.
well. They're not as stupid. Neanderthals are finding weren't as stupid as they thought.
Right.
But they are seeing that they kind of humans and At one point, there was 13 different types of hominids on the planet at the same time.
Yeah. Humans.
Humans. 13 different.
That's why I'd say like we're not all cut from the same cloth. Like so, like a person from certain part of the world is going to act different and be different than somebody else. But obviously, they want everyone to be like we're all created equal, which is not true.
Wow. So
Kind of.
It's an argument for euthanasia? Is that what y'all talking about?
That's the bad.
yeah.
That's where it gets bad. Yeah. See, with him, you got to watch him because he's German.
Yeah.
So
I'm cut from a really different cloth.
Yeah, he catches himself once in a while, and you have to constantly check him and be like, no, that's not a good idea.
My cloth likes to just clean.
Yeah,
they like to just wipe up a little
The
bit.
Germans just always, they have something in
Where's your
them
can?
where the Germans are just kind of looking to do bad stuff.
Right.
You always got to watch those guys.
I don't know if it's bad. It's just extreme. I don't know if you ever messing around with a couple of German girls. They're just really excited. They get over.
That's what it is. And that could go wrong, that overexcitement.
Exactly.
In the 40s, it went wrong. It went wrong. It went wrong in 2 world wars that they caused.
Yeah.
You're just problems.
But if you visit Berlin now, good freaky time.
Good, yeah.
Freaky deaky time.
Freaky deaky time.
It's a real good time
Ass
to be on the
fucking, all
planet.
that stuff. It's great.
It's a great time to be on the fucking. You could do whatever you want now.
Yeah.
You could genuinely. I mean, there's no rules. What are the rules now?
This is a good little era we're living in, I think. Like where there's like, especially if you live in a place like New York or something where there's like, I wouldn't say there's racial harmony, but we've gone past a lot of shit. Don't you think? Like if you look at based on comparing it to how things were, not even that long ago, we've come a long way. And it's a time where we don't have to go to war. There's plenty of meat. Like,
Wait, you're saying came a long way from what?
came a long way from like the 60s, even like the
We're talking about with racial harmony?
racial
No,
harmony.
well, that's one part of it, though.
I mean, we got a long way to go, but I'm just saying, like, it's not horrific like it used to be.
Oh, horrific. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hear from your perspective because it is Black History
It is
Month.
Black History Month.
Yeah.
I mean, since you said, everything's. I mean, shit. I'm very complicated when it comes to race relations because I've thought about it way too much. I would say that
And you have banged a lot of white women as reparations.
Yeah.
I've banged.
You're doing your part.
I've
You're doing your
all
part. You have on A6.
cultures.
You're doing your part to be white.
I'm thinking my part to make racial harmony, asshole. Okay?
Yeah,
all right.
that's
I'm
more
trying
like
to
that's
change-
what-
I mean, the way Seaton's had it, Seaton's just put together nice.
He's a good-looking kid.
He's a good-looking kid. He's a very well-dressed kid.
Yeah,
I'm trying to make white people not be scared of me.
yeah, yeah. Let's talk because Black History Month. Is this going to go up at Black History Month?
It'll be up this week.
Yeah,
Oh,
we have to
shit.
put Seaton up immediately because he's our
Black History
last
Month.
Black
Was
History
there,
guest.
Was there any other Black History guests?
We
Yes.
we did episodes on Harriet Tubman,
Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morgan is the best.
Motherfucker.
Yeah,
Marvin Gaye,
Marvin Gaye, Garrett Morgan,
George Washington Carver,
George
and then
Washington
for black guests, we've had Andrew Schultz,
Yeah.
Nice.
you,
Okay.
and
No, we
Jeff Dye,
we had another. Who else do we have?
Shit.
Tiki Barber,
Tiki Barber.
Seaton Smith. Well, no, we just said Tiki and Seaton. We only want to have.
Yamanika canceled on us, but we said if she came on, she'd count for 2 blacks because she's very black.
Yeah,
She'll
no.
come on. She got strong opinions.
yeah.
Keith canceled also.
Who?
Keith canceled
we were
on us.
supposed to. Yeah.
Keith canceled.
I'm not doing it, dummy.
I'm the only one saying yes. Okay, I got you.
You
Yeah.
and Tiki.
And
You and
Tiki.
Tiki Barber.
Tiki
Yeah.
Barber.
We've all yeah.
We got 2 very white black guys. Come on.
I respect that implication.
Yeah,
kidding, I'm
Chris
kidding.
is just,
I'm kidding.
he's a kid from Ridgewood. You can't
No, the
help
reason
it.
why I wanted to have Seaton, main reason, obviously funny, but that's just doesn't need to be said. We all know that. But it's like I wanted to have somebody on where we could talk race, and because Tiki can't talk about it because he's very corporate. Where Seaton could just go in and we could just talk openly. In here,
Tiki
which I
did
like.
avoid it a few times, but I get it.
Also, I
Tiki
needed a
loved it.
comedian in. I wanted a comedian on because we're all fucking sitting talking about it. It's like we're all like kind of like brothers and sisters in this side of it. So it's like you could just be free and honest and talk, which I like.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So you're saying
It's
so
the American story.
what were you getting to? You were going to get to something, and then
Then you went on a tangent? I don't.
I went. Welcome to the Hyenas.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you. When you talk about race, shit gets all awkward and shit. So you gotta talk it out and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. Anyways, me being white, black, I don't know. I know the fuck out of black people. I ain't gonna lie.
But why do you think that?
Why do I annoy black people? Because I don't really think everybody's evil cleanly. Like I don't think
Right.
like I don't believe in evil so much as I believe in stupidity. I think the government's a lot more stupid than it is evil. Because I think like a lot of times we think of these conspiracies like, oh man, the government's going out of the way to do this evil. I don't think the government's that capable to do that shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
just don't think they're smart. I think they're all just trying to survive and shit. Like I got in trouble for what?
I was saying I think in 2020 being divided is like a business now. Like if division is like people are making money, like the fucking what's his face, the blogger.
People finding
What's the kid's
people
name?
have jobs. Yeah, people
Yes.
have jobs talking about problems. Yeah.
Sam, what's his fucking
Sam Shepard.
Seth Simon.
No, Sam Simon.
Shepard.
He's writing plays again?
No.
Yeah,
Seth Simon.
Seth Simon.
Seth Simon.
Like he doesn't want to really fix anything. Guys like that, they want to keep the division. They want to keep it up. So you know what I mean?
Who is trying to reunite things then? Actually,
No, I'm saying
give me an example of somebody who actually is trying to unite things. Actually, I don't see anybody trying to do that.
I think we are.
I think
I think
we are a little bit. Our listenership is like crazy diverse. Like seriously, like we get a sample of it through our Patreon when we do our live shows.
Nice.
Yeah, and like we're not trying to capture a diverse audience, but for some reason, like we're not actively going for it. But like for some reason, we have like as diverse a listenership. It like blows my mind. I like that because that means that like, hey, we're uniting people through funny. We're talking real. We're just trying to be funny. We're not trying to pander. We're just being us, and people are gravitating towards us of all creeds and colors and races.
But I feel
and
like
it's we got a lot of trans fans too.
we do have trans fans. I feel like comedians, though, in an like whether it's subconsciously or consciously, some of us we're all kind of like united. Like if we were in corporate America, like we probably couldn't talk as like openly and honestly as we can like to each other at like the Comedy Cellar table or like a podcast. Like, you know, you just can't, you know, because like you're all like we're not worried about anything because we're like it's all understood. Like we're just trying to be funny, but there's no hate towards anybody because of what they look or sound or act.
Well, we
like.
have a bond.
We just hate them if
we're
we
all
suck at
outsiders.
comedy.
Yeah, we're kind of comedians
That's
are
a
the
good
only
point.
group. Like, if you saw him, a kid from Ridgewood, me, kid from Park Slope, you from DC, black, white,
Not from
Greek, German, not from DC.
everywhere. It doesn't matter.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in San Diego, but I moved every 2 years growing up till I was 18.
I didn't.
Where'd you
know
graduate
that.
from high school?
Montclair, New Jersey.
Jersey. Okay.
I didn't know. I thought you were from DC. You just came up at comedy, college and comedy.
College of comedy, yeah. But I moved so many times. But it's easier to say that.
Was your dad in the military or something?
Nah, my mom was just a hippie. She didn't want to be on her deathbead and regret not doing something.
When I would do
Is she
shows,
still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still doing shit.
All right, good.
all right. You go
Yeah.
do new things.
Yeah.
Seaton was the guy, like when you went and did shows in any room in DC, in the DC area, everyone just, Seaton was like the guy. It was Seaton and Tony Woods were the two names everyone would be like, yeah, Seaton. He was just like running. He was just the funniest guy there.
Do you go back to DC still?
Yeah, I go there like 2 or 3 times a year. Yeah, man. I just did Kennedy Center. Then we did this other festival there. Yeah, I love that.
Kennedy Center's great.
Kennedy Center's great. Every room in that motherfucker's great. They had like a new extended kind of room there too. So it's just,
Yeah. I was there like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
It was great. Yeah.
Oh shit. Which room?
Studio K or something like that. It was called.
That's fucking awesome.
It was nice.
Driving up to that venue, it's just you just feel extra special. Like
Yeah.
just 'cause it's like it feels like a White House and it's a great view of the lake. You're like, yo, I'm a real performer.
DC's the most beautiful city. Like it's like a museum of a city.
It is.
It really is.
And the people there are fucking dope. I mean, when I first moved there, it was a weird transition because I got there in 2000 when it was like when the gentrification just started happening. When the murder hadn't really finished yet. So like I got to see both of like, I remember in 2000 thinking to myself, looking at those abandoned row houses going, fuck, I wish I had money because those things are gonna be worth like $6 million.
Right.
And I didn't have money to do it. So it's a great fucking place.
Now they are.
Now they're worth fucking, there's no abandoned buildings in that motherfucker anymore. Oh,
I left in 99 right before.
Shit, right.
Like when I was there, it was like Northwest, and then there were like certain little slithers Northeast you could go to. But like, yeah, there was like, you were at nighttime, you were like, there was a lot of crime.
Even Northwest, you get robbed.
There was yeah.
Northwest, I remember there was a drive-by 3 blocks away from my house. It was it's not a funny story, but it made me laugh.
We'll make it funny.
It was dark as fuck where dude got killed, right, in a beef. They had a funeral, and then the dudes decide to fucking do a drive-by on the funeral procession.
Oh my God.
I know. I was like, yo.
And kill more people?
Fucking freaky.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's brutal.
That's fucking freaky. And that was like not that long ago. I was like, yo.
Jesus Christ.
I remember when I was going to school there because I went to college there. I remember.
Wait, what college did you go to see?
I went to Howard.
Howard, and you went to American. Nice.
Oh, shit.
There was a on like in Georgetown, on like M Street or something. There was a Starbucks, I believe, or was it Wisconsin? I can't remember. But like, yeah, it was stuck up at gunpoint. They took all the employees back and they killed them all. It just went wrong and they killed them all. That was while I was going to school there.
Wait,
Interesting.
what?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what?
You could Google it. That story's
A
still there.
Starbucks robbery went wrong?
Went wrong, yeah.
What the fuck?
They took all the employees back.
Oh, my God.
And I don't
killed
think they ever
every
saw
single-
it. They ended up killing all the employees.
What
And it was
the
just
fuck?
like these innocent employees, man, who probably didn't give a shit
About that.
about the fucking money. It's like, take it, you know?
No, that's a lot
Yeah.
of things went wrong. That's straight crap.
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. With Howard, Howard is the number one academic historically black college, right?
I have no idea.
Don't they say that Howard's like the Harvard for black colleges?
Yes, I believe so. I do.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the expression, but maybe Mike, can you look it up?
Is that
Yeah, look
true?
that shit
It's
up.
the number
I-
one one.
No.
And the one it is.
you got Morehouse, you got Howard.
But
Is Tuskegee still around? Is that like
Tuskegee's still around.
Tuskegee?
Grambling. But I know Grambling had a white quarterback in the early 2000s.
Hey, times have fucking changed.
So that's my question. So
Yeah.
what happens now? Can you are historically black college now? Can anybody go?
They've always been able. Yeah, they've always been able to go. They've always been open to white people.
Always.
Really?
It's just majority are just not white.
Just what white person wants to go. But
Sean King.
When I was, yeah,
Sean
exactly.
King, he can't wait to go.
Exactly. No, there was literally when I was there, honestly, because Rachel Dolezal went to Howard approximately the time I went there.
Really?
That's the thing, because I remember when they mentioned her, I remember specifically this one white girl who used to wear dashiki and had like micro braids, and she was in charge of this one African fraternity because she was trying to like recruit people for that. And I remember seeing her, I was like, yo, is that Rachel? Because I had to call a couple of Howard friends, like, yo, is that the same woman? Like, nah, that's just another white woman who thinks she's black.
Right.
Wow.
You know what it is? You know what's hard for
That's
me?
crazy.
Yeah.
For guys like us, from Brooklyn, grow up in the city.
Right.
It's hard. Of course, we can all understand like racism and stuff, but because we've been around so many different races, religions, and cultures and shit like that, like for me, I'm just like, when I see it, like we were talking about this on the Garrett Morgan episode, I was listening, like we were like, how do people from the South, like when we mentioned like Kentucky and like the Civil War stuff, it's like, how do you get your brain to a place where you think you're superior to someone because you guys have different skin color? Like, how does it even happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah, education.
Marketing.
Education.
Yeah.
Marketing, industry, but we're
No, not me specifically. Education. The education system in the South is completely different than the ones in the North. They
What do you think?
They teach history differently. They teach the history that the Civil War was a internal dispute, not a real war.
They call it the
Yes. War of Northern Aggression.
Northern aggression.
Northern aggression. So that essentially that's the level, but also the idea that racism is a Southern thing is also something I never.
No.
But I mean, because like I said, I moved a lot, and my mother as a hippie didn't move around good people. It was a lot of shitty people. Like I remember when I was 7 or 8, and our white landlord kicked us out of our house. I remember all our shit on the front yard and just calling us nigga and shit. So I was like, that was in California where everybody was peaceful.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean,
You know what's fucking wild? Like it must just be like a generation thing because I grew up Brooklyn. You know, some of my friends are like cops, firemen. Like what you would think is like the most, you would think from the movies, you'd be like, oh, these people got to be fucking pieces of shit, probably racist.
Mm-hmm.
I've never in my life heard any member of my friends or family say a racial slur. We joke around about it, but I've actually never heard it.
I can talk about this. Southern racism and Northern racism are very different in that Southern racism is in your face, but almost polite. And they'll just be upfront.
Mm-hmm.
Like Southern racism is like, we don't want you here, now leave. Whereas Northern racism is usually like behind your back, but well, almost like more paperwork based. Like you're not going to be in this building, but we're not going to tell you why.
Right.
But is that tied up in the Southern and Northern culture? Because Southern culture is like fake polite, like hi, welcome, have some sweet tea, and Northern people are a little more aggressive. Is it tied up in the culture? You know what I'm saying? Because like racism's racism. Maybe it's just you mix racism with Northern personalities, it comes out that way. You mix racism with Southern personalities, it comes out like, hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean, that's like a surface issue where like, it's like, all right, well, how it comes out really doesn't bother me. For black people, where it's like, as long as it's out, we're like, oh, we're fucking paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, somebody
Well,
called me.
Like whenever I'd go to Mississippi,
Mhm.
like tell me what would happen, and they're like, "Well, why did you go there?" Like the black people would be like, "Why did you
Hey,
go
well,
there?"
that's stupid.
That's a dumb idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
Whereas here, it'd be like a protest if something like that were to happen.
No, there's
You know what I mean? People would be mad that it happened. Like, not like white people would be mad that it happened. Is what I mean. Like white people be the ones
I
who.
think you overestimate white people. Honestly, on that level, I'm not saying white
No,
people suck,
what I mean is like.
hear me out.
Oh, sorry.
For 57 years, black taxis weren't being picked up by black people, and we were laughed at. They were like, "Oh, what are you talking about, black people? The taxis don't." They laughed at us.
Yeah.
And now Uber came out. Now it's not an issue anymore. So that premise that white people get mad when racism is not a real thing.
You know, I had a joke. I had a joke about that though, and I don't know, maybe back in the day, but a joke was like, it is true because I've had a lot of black friends growing up, and cabs won't stop for black people. It's true, but my joke was like, but that has nothing to do with white people. When's the last time you saw a white taxi driver?
Yes.
I was like, oh, it's 1973. It was a movie directed by Martin Scorsese. Like, I was like, that is a problem directed at South Asians
Yes.
and Arabs.
Yes.
Because that's who, and in D.C., it was a lot of Africans who were taxi drivers.
Specifically would drive by me.
Yeah.
I remember being like stuck in that city, and I'd be like, "Hey, I'm white on the inside." I would just yell that just for the hell of it, just to see what happened. And they could, yeah. So the racism just comes in different forms. That's almost just like I had an original point before we even started talking about that shit.
Well, I had the answer to your question earlier about the Howard is a Harvard of black colleges.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that is considered that, and it is part of the unofficial Black Ivy League, which are Fisk, Morehouse, Spelman, Dillard, Howard, Hampton, and Tuskegee.
Nice.
Oh,
There you go.
Tuskegee
You're a fucking
was-
Ivy League kid.
Founded by
Apparently.
Booker T. Washington.
Yeah?
Tuskegee.
Tuskegee was about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
and
talked-
Washington George Washington Carver.
and Booker T were boys.
Booker T made a phone call to him. Was like, come head up a botany department at Tuskegee, and he was making a lot of money. He dropped it. That's why I like George Washington Carver. He made a lot less money to start a botany department.
Garrett Morgan.
Tuskegee.
For me, it's all about
Garrett Morgan's a
I mean, that guy's
superstar,
fucking
gets
superstar.
overlooked.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, he's
overlooked.
like me in comedy.
Yeah. I can't believe people don't know more about Garrett Morgan.
He invented the gas mask. You know how many fucking white lives were saved in World War I with the gas mask?
Didn't he invent the
traffic
chamber and the gun
Yep.
too?
The street light.
I don't know about the multi-chamber.
I feel like he invented the guns, but he did do the street light.
Street light, but the gas mask in World War I, he invented that.
His wife was German. He had a German
Bavarian.
wife.
Yeah.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta be crazy at that point. There was, the black guy actually invented how the trains buckle. Like you think, he
Yes.
invented that shit too.
From Baltimore, that kid. No, he was. He's from Baltimore.
Mm.
I know who you're talking about. What's his name?
Baltimore?
Yeah, it was like a rent. No. The kid was from Baltimore. I'm pretty sure of it. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah, I definitely remember his name.
Yeah.
But that's fuck. I love the
Yeah, but Garrett Morgan's a superstar.
What's what? Yeah.
But I want to talk about this because, like,
Go ahead, talk it out.
you just joked about that you were white on the inside. You made the joke. When Chris made the joke, it made you a little uncomfortable. I kind of understand that.
Wait, what did I do? What did
When
I
you
do?
when you joked about that
I'm not black
seat was
enough,
white,
but
but then
that's
he
like
just made a joke about it, and I was just saying, like, I understand it because there's a sensitivity to it in our culture and our history, and in my culture and history, like the Greeks were enslaved by Turks for probably comparable amount of time, for like 400 something years,
Right.
and if somebody calls me a Turk, even though I'm a comedian, we're all comedians, we make jokes about everything, whatever, it's fine. And I try to be joyful, but there's a little part of me that goes, I get that there's like a little anger that comes up.
Oh yeah, definitely comes up.
Like I can joke about it, or if someone jokes about it, I still think it's funny. Like you probably didn't take it personally when Chris said it because he's joking, but it's like you can't help it because it's part of the culture. Because wasn't it considered by other black people like that whole Uncle Tom's Cabin thing? Like if you're collaborating with white people, calling someone white became sort of an insult. Same way for Greeks, because there were a lot of Greeks who collaborated with the Turks, worked for the Turks. If you call a Greek a Turk or something, it's like a mortal insult.
Yeah, no, it's lovely, but it's one of those things where, like, when I was in my 20s, I really got pissed off about it and defensive and fucking tried to overcompensate. Now in my 30s, it's like I think Mulaney had this joke where it's like, when you're in your 20s and you're like effeminate a little bit, you're like, people, oh, you're worried. Do you think you think you're gay? You're like in your 20s, but then you're in your 30s, you're like, I got real man shit I got to deal with.
Yeah, I'm wearing a shirt that says, "Yep, I'm gay."
Yeah.
I know I'm not fucking gay.
You get comfortable in who you are. You get
I don't care anymore at all.
Yeah,
secure.
I'm like, I am who I am, dude. I can't be nothing else. And
you probably get a lot of shit. So a lot of the shit also comes from the black side too, right? Like people like
much more.
Seaton's hanging out white people talking a certain that's
not even the hanging out with white people. Yeah. It's just more or less like you fuck with that white shit.
Right.
You talk weird.
Right.
It's like I don't even talk white. I just talk weird. I don't talk no type of black, but I don't talk no type of white.
Right.
No white guy sounds like
right.
No black guy sounds like I just fucking sound weird. And
you sound like how you want to sound.
I sound like I want to sound.
Yeah.
I sound like
you sound like Seaton.
Yeah. So it's one of those like, all right, well, you just gotta just accept who I am. I mean, it's one of those like I used to get really insecure. Now I'm like, what am I gonna do?
I remember. That's what I was gonna say, like insecurity and all that stuff, and all this, take down everybody. That's like young people, bored people problems. As you get older, and as you got like real shit to worry about, it's like, is that really the biggest thing that's affecting me right now? Yeah. Most of the times, the things that college kids are getting so upset at are things that really, it's like, once you get older, you're like, man, I see, like, we talk about straws, plastic straws, paper straws. It's like, that's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
That's not really that big of a deal at all. It's just a thing that you're angry about because you're really angry at something else. I don't fucking know.
That's all it is. They're angry about some other shit. They transfer it to you. So I don't even contemplate when people call me white now. Like, I don't think you know enough stuff, nigga. Fuck it.
Yeah. I remember when two good black friends I've had recently in college, my buddy Todd Robinson.
Right.
And me and him used to we loved Hootie.
We didn't give you a wedding gift.
We loved Hootie.
He didn't give you a wedding
gift. We loved Hootie. And then Donnell, when I was hanging out with Donnell when I first started doing comedy, he started listening to Hootie. And I remember it was like always a funny thing for him I just loved Hootie because I was like free to like Hootie because I'm like a white kid. Yeah. So I can so there's this thing where and I would always joke I was like, damn, black people are missing out on a lot of good music. You know what I mean? Just because it's like taboo or something. You can't be like a black guy and like Radiohead, right? You're like, what the fuck's up? Yeah,
no, it was a big deal for me to buy a white record when I was like 16 because I think I bought like a Lenny Kravitz. That was the first. It's not even a white record, but it was like rock and roll music. The first.
I get it.
And I remember going I didn't show it to nobody. And then after that, I bought a Beck CD and I didn't show it to nobody.
Right. You're in the closet.
In the closet, like in this white music and shit. It was just like, but I grew up listening to a bunch of other shit, dude. Yeah. So it's just like, and plus it's annoying too when you. Because like I said, I grew up in a bunch of different states growing up. And so like when you start living with people who only lived in one fucking place.
Oh my God, yeah.
One definition of everything. You're just like, well, I'm not going to try to prove
that's what ignorance is. It's like, they just fucking people don't know any better.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying in New York City, it's like, I would just never, like I was in, I forgot where the fuck I was, Iowa, Des Moines Funny Bone. And one of the comedians, the MC, was talking about his friend. And then he was like, oh, he kept saying my black friend. And I was like, why do you, in my head, I don't know the guy. So I was like, it was just interesting to me. I was like, I would never even think to even refer to someone as that, be like, it's just my friend. Like, or I have to, say I'm telling a story about someone and be like, oh, and they were black. If If it has nothing to do with the story, it's like, why? Because that's just white point of view perspective shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's go ahead. Finish.
So, no, I'm saying, so it's like that. So it's like,
Are they trying to signal like I'm a safe white person?
no, that guy and no, but my point is like that guy in Iowa, he's not a bad guy, but he doesn't even realize where it's like there's no reason to say that this person is black or whatever they are. You're just basically telling me they're not white. You don't even realize it.
See,
but we didn't grow. It's like I would never. My friends that came to my house were just like, I don't know. That just was never a thing.
See, I would defend Iowans only because of my small experience with them. It's just like I remember one day, like I was going to do a college game in Iowa, but I was in DC, so I went for a run in DC, and I remember running in the middle of the day, and I ran behind. This a white woman was walking down the street, and I ran on the right side of her, and she flinched. It's like, huh, like
Right.
I get it, flinch. Okay, cool. Black guy running down the street, flinch. I remember I was in
And then
Iowa.
came with that neurotic Seaton energy. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did I scare you?
exactly.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm just trying to walk by. Sorry.
Walk by.
So I remember in Iowa, though, the next day I was doing another run, and it was literally the middle of the night. It was like 9 at night. It was pitch black, and I ran by a white woman, and she turned to me and smiled like, "Hi,
Yeah.
welcome." And I was like, "Oh, it's just like one of those like I know the wording he used in Iowa was wrong, but I almost was like, but they have maybe that's a little racist, but I know their undercore is like sometimes it's like." They don't know enough black people to hate them. That's the one thing I used to make fun of. I was like, I don't think y'all know enough black people to even have stereotypes.
Right.
Because he's just like,
You're not even familiar with what they would be.
Yeah. I mean, there's some places in the South, obviously, they build up their own thing from history of stuff. But I mean, there's some places like, my ex-girlfriend did not know enough of black people at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was white. And so, like,
Yeah.
she would say shit to me that I'd be like, what the fuck you say that for? But then I'm like, oh, I don't think she knows enough black people to even know.
Yeah, I just was able to realize, like, as soon as you start to get like smart enough to know anything, like in high school and stuff, like when somebody would be like, you know, whatever you would hear, like, hey, stop talking black. It's like, what is that even? Everything is from the white point of view, where it's like, it never bothered me. It's like, you talk how you talk. Like, remember, it was always talk about like ebonics. Like, to me, it's like, that's just that's just their own language. It's just a language. It's like, it doesn't bother me if you have a French accent, because I'm like, I know whatever.
But there's history. There's complicated, nuanced history there.
And you know what
with
fucks
that,
me up
with the
about-
way, like when you say like talking black, like there's like really like, I mean, Chris Rock had that great bit about it where it like really brought it to people's attention, where for most of African Americans' existence in America, if you read, it was a crime.
That's crazy.
Like that's a crime to learn. So that's gonna leave a mark. That's gonna be like that's a psychological impediment.
Right.
That's like, we can't relate to that because we never had that somewhere in our, brain. Like, we never had to worry about anything like that. Like, if you learned, on the one hand, like it's illegal, and then the other people being like, you're acting white, there's a whole fucking thing there that is complicated.
Well, here's the thing I want to point out, though. It's just frustrating for me in the 90s. Black people didn't know there was a black way to talk, but black people didn't know that there were different dialects of black. Does that make sense? So like Southern black and New York black talk are completely different, especially it's different than California talk, which is different than Missouri talk. And we didn't really even know there was a difference until like motherfuckers like Outkast came out with an album in 97 and Southern niggas started talking different. Right. That was when everybody started going, oh wait, there's a different dialect.
Well, that's a problem.
It's like the Gula Geechee, the Creole, there's like different fucking words.
But that's furthermore the problem when your country is too big. It's like it's just too big.
Yeah,
like,
let's make it smaller.
350 million.
Pull it in, guy.
If you think New York is the same United States as fucking Kentucky, you're wrong. It's just not. So it's like it's too big of a place. So it's like there's going to be 1,000 different, languages and dialects and religions. It's like, for me, it's like that's all fine. This idea of a United States, it's like it's too many people.
But
you
now
can't unite that many people
through the internet. Now everyone's getting very familiar with each other, though, right?
We're learning,
dude. I remember I went to Montenegro, former Yugoslavia, where my boy Marco's from, with my buddy Todd, and nobody in that country had ever seen a black person before.
Yeah.
Right.
This was 1999. There was really no internet. This was like compact Presario days, and it was like everyone was just pointing at him. And they were going, Michael Jordan. Little kids were going, Michael Jordan. They were pointing, Jordan. And they were like fascinated because they just had never seen a black dude before. That doesn't exist anymore. Because wherever you are, well, very few places.
My boy lives in a southern town in China.
Yes.
And like
near Wuhan.
Yeah, they don't
near
let
the
them
epicenter.
And it's like a country Hobug town, and them motherfuckers follow him around.
They blame the coronavirus on him.
They probably do.
Probably would.
They probably do. But they definitely they do weird shit. Like he knows enough Chinese to get around, and so Mandarin to get around, and so he'll be in the supermarket, and then people will just go to the counter, look at him, and then start speaking in Mandarin. Like, what does he buy? Where does he live? who are his friends. Like they're just getting like,
Jesus.
yeah, people follow him, be like, yo, can I have your garbage? Like shit like that. So it's like,
Well, because we've spoken about more. The thing is tribalism with human beings.
Tribalism.
More than racism, it's tribalism. It's like the tribes stay with the tribes in the animal kingdom for a real human history. It's like, yeah, of course, like I wouldn't fucking, I don't dislike anyone because of a difference. It's because I grew up in New York City. It's stupid. But it's like most people, it's like the tribalism is the real thing where
Yeah,
it's like
we're
it's just a function of our brain, it's a nature protecting thing.
We got to if we have
tribes stay with the tribe.
we would have to evolve past it to have. We would have to continue to evolve.
I don't think the simulators
Well,
want that to be part of the game.
I think the first thing is to admit it. Can we just fucking admit it and stop pretending in this utopia that we're going to ignore, or these people pretending like they're so good and so virtuous?
They scare
and
me the most.
Don't see race and all that shit. It's like, shut the fuck up. There's differences there. You're lying.
well, let's take race out of it for a second. Y'all don't know if you read Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point.
Yes, and the outliers.
And the outliers. I forgot it was outliers or Tipping Point, but he had that point about companies. There was one company that decided to make their sites not have more than 150 employees on each site because they found that 150 was a sweet spot of like productivity and closeness.
Interesting.
Anything more, people get lost. People get like, they feel like they're ignored and stuff. Almost like the classroom rule. You don't want more than like 20,
Right.
30 kids.
Right.
So like that kind of taking that idea with tribalism and going like, okay, well if you separate people in groups, but then still have a big goal, then objective goals and things are good. But I mean, there's going to be internal fights between departments. That's just how the world works.
And also, it's a nice microcosm, but when you look at the reality, I mean, there's 10 billion people on the planet. We can't make it small.
We can't make
It's got to be big. So it's like
we got to have different departments and stuff. You got to have.
we just got to. I mean, how do you just let people? How do we tell people? How do we pull back the perspective? Because like astronauts always talk about that. They have that feeling when they get up and they look at the Earth. They get that perspective that a lot of us don't get to get.
And that's called meditation.
Where they're looking at the Earth and they're going like, oh, all the lines are imaginary. All that shit is bullshit because the farther you pull back, the more you see.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we give that to people when you look at, because here's the deal. Racism exists, all that shit, but racism is not as big a problem as tribalism, as humanity's shittiness. Because if you look at Pakistanis and Indians, they kill each other genetically, they're the same. You look at Croats, Serbs, all that shit, they're killing Ukrainians, right? They're killing each other. You look at all the wars in Europe, those countries killing each other, the French and the German, those people genetically pretty fucking similar. Greeks and Turks, I just did my DNA. I'm half Turkish. So it's like,
oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you were really offended if somebody called you Turkish.
Yeah. So it's like, it gets complicated.
It gets complicated.
Like you might look in and see some European in there, African Americans, a lot of European.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, no, there'll be, and it happened by rape, and it could have happened by rape in my family. It could have.
But that's the whole thing. I read the book Sapiens, and when that author talked a lot about culture, and he was saying like with culture and cancel culture and appropriating culture, he said he understands it. He said, but in its essence, it's silly because he said he brought up the idea of human culture because he was like, whatever you think your culture is, whatever way you're wearing your hair, whatever religion you think you are, most likely it was just your great grandfather and grandmother's conquerors that raped and put their culture into yours. Because right now in 2020, the world, we've been around too long for anything to be really, really your culture. It's just a melting pot of all humans just into one thing. Right. So that whole book, I thought it was an interesting chapter. He was like, that appropriating culture, it feels silly for anything because it's like it's all from one.
Also too, I think my perspective on, as I'm getting older, the perspective on fights and disagreements has completely changed. Two reasons. One, I started fighting a lot with the MMA stuff.
Yeah.
And I found that when I would have conflicts with some of my teammates, it was interesting because in most situations in life, if I get angry at somebody, I know I can't fight them,
right?
But I want to fight them. And so now there's a lot of tension of like, all right, well, how do we deal with this problem? But when you're fighting somebody already and you have a problem with them, it's like, oh, we're fighting, but we still have to actually come off the mat and actually have a real conversation about what's going on.
Sure.
And it's interesting. So now fighting becomes this tool of just like, not even a tool, just like, for example, there's one dude who,
you almost become more reasonable.
You have to.
Right.
Like I have to believe the benefit of the doubt this dude because I put myself in these situations and I have to.
We already did that thing. We handled it that way. That's the only, we have to do that.
We have to do that. So there's a dude I was fighting for a year and a half. I completely respect him. He was a 135-pound wrestler kind of dude. So he was really, really skilled. Division I, beat me up every day, put me on my back on the mat. But on kickboxing, I would beat him up. So it was an equal thing. Here's the thing. One day we're going into the locker room. He takes off his gloves. His hand wraps are the Confederate flag.
Whoa.
Confederate flag hand wraps. I'm like, what the fuck? But I didn't know what to say because we just finished fighting 5 minutes ago. So what
You're going to fight again?
Yeah, I'm not going to fight him again. I mean,
Is that a bit? That's a funny bit.
I probably got a problem.
Yeah, but thank you for giving it to our podcast. 'Cause that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So weird.
You're like,
Yeah.
no, what is that? Damn, we just fought.
We just fought. So now I got to sit there and like go.
It's like it happened in reverse.
Yeah. So I was like, but then like later, like a couple weeks later, he was like, hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw, I had these wraps that looked like Confederate flag, but they were actually American flag. But when I wrapped them, they looked like Confederate. I don't know if you saw them. I threw them away. But it was one of those, if I flipped out, he would have had to explain
Why
that.
do you have Confederate flag.
Wait, was that true, you think? Or he was just making a rationalization?
The way they were wrapped, it made sense because they had stars and stripes, but the stripes were like in the inside. So when I saw it, I was like, it is a bad wrap. You should throw it away.
Right.
But okay, another example. Another time I was in Australia.
But what if it was? Yeah, what are you going to do?
What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? I don't know. I got to believe in the benefit of the doubt because he's a nice guy. Another time, this dude he's an Indian dude who lived in Australia, and he was a jiu-jitsu guy. He's 25 years old with black belt, which means he can kill you in fucking seconds. I remember at one point we were rolling, and I don't know if y'all know how jiu-jitsu works. If like they put you in a position where they could choke you or break your arm, you have to tap and ask them not to do that. So basically, you asking them not to kill you, and they don't. It's nice.
Right.
So I rolled with this guy, and he was such a good fighter. I think he tapped me maybe 5 or 6 times, but he was doing it while watching an NBA playoff game. So he was commenting on the game, giving me advice, and tapping me at the same time. He's like, watch yourself, pop, pop, pop. Oh, man, why didn't you go for that pass? Pop. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing. After that, he's so obsessed with black culture, hip-hop, NBA stuff. He's trying to talk to me, and he's referencing some story of some rapper beef, and he says the word nigga. He says it. He says it in like an accent. He's like, nigga. But he didn't.
He was white guy.
He's Indian.
Indian, sorry.
He's Indian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Interesting
It was
to find
interesting.
out.
It's an interesting problem. But here's the thing. I already asked him 6 times not to kill me. And he politely did not. And now I got to ask him one more time, hey, man, you also got to be aware of my history as a culture. I'm like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and go, you respect me and let it go.
Because he didn't kill you, yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't kill me. So it's one of those layers of history. I'm like,
Did he say it maliciously? Because there is different ways.
Exactly. He said it in a way that was like, he was earnestly trying to be cool, failed.
Yeah.
Now, if we hadn't fight and we were on the street, then I'd be like, hey, man, you probably shouldn't say that.
And then you'd be prepared to fight him because you hadn't fought yet.
He did. Listen, if you saw him on the street, you wouldn't want to fight him because you would think he's just a soft little sweetheart.
Oh, those guys are tricky, yeah.
He's tricky. He's a motherfucker. No,
Like Jamie Kilstein.
Did he have the cauliflower ear?
No.
Wow. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Jamie Kilstein, like, what did you say? And then next thing you know, he's got you wrapped up.
No, he trains UFC dudes. He's a scary human being.
Yeah.
But he's a sweetheart. And I love jiu-jitsu guys because they give very soft handshakes.
Yeah.
Because they like to hide their power. He said, so I don't know. It was one of those
And they're completely confident. I noticed that when I was interviewing MMA guys for a 2-point lead, it was like I was trying to figure out what it was, and it's this confidence and calm in knowing that 99% of the population you could beat the shit out of.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have those insecurities that other people have. So you're calm and reasonable and talk it out because most of fighting and stuff like that is like, my brain doesn't work. Let's punch each other. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like insecurity. It's a feeling that you're not. That you need to overcompensate for feeling low.
Yes.
It's like, but when you're sure you can whoop somebody's ass, there's no real reason to because you're sure. You're like, look, we could do this, but it's going to be over quick and you're going to get hurt. So it's like, what do you want to do? You want to talk it out? Let's talk it out.
That actually that is one good layer, but the other layer is also not only do I can't beat a lot of people, I'm okay with the fact that there are a lot of people who can beat me, and I'm accepting that like I don't know who that is because even if you fight really good in the MMA gym, every MMA fighter knows on the street there's crazy motherfuckers who have crazy.
So it humbles you in that way, knowing that like you've getting beat, so like this guy could beat me, so I'm not going to try anything because I don't know what he knows.
Yes, you don't know who the fuck nobody knows. Even in MMA, like, you can study him. John Jones knows this for a fact. You can study a motherfucker for years and still be surprised by some new shit he does.
Right.
And imagine on the street, we don't know this motherfucker. There's some fat, slobby looking motherfuckers who are ex-Marines. Who know one move to take your rib.
Yeah, man. Fighting's last resort. Always. Yeah. It's always been last resort.
And fighting, how good you are fighting, a lot of times just how much you know, how trained you are,
or even how lucky you are. Sometimes you could slip on a fucking not banana or ice or just lean on. I had a friend of mine who's another student. He wasn't that high, but he knew how to fight enough. He saw a dude talking on the street, shocking shit on the street, followed him to the corner. Yo, let's fucking fight. They fought. He beat the guy up, but then he slipped. He caught himself. And then he looked down and saw his arm was broken. And so he couldn't fucking fight for like a year and a half. He had to put screws in his arm. It was like, so you won the fight, but it wasn't really worth it, was it? It's like, ugh. So
talking of fights, the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder.
Dude.
I mean, that nobody expected that to be like
Licking
that.
his blood.
I mean, when you look at the last fight, Fury did touch him up every round except for like maybe 2.
Yeah.
And the knockouts kind of made it a little even, I guess. But it looked like Fury won that fight. So when you look at the whole story, you're like, that wasn't that surprising.
No.
The thing that was surprising is he put on that weight and people thought he was going to be slower and he looked sharp as ever. But the interesting thing to me, to relate that fight to this, that it just happened, is Tyson Fury won. I mean, dominated him bad.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of him.
But beforehand, Deontay Wilder was trying to make race a thing. Did you see that time when they were talking shit? And Deontay was like, all I know is this month. And Tyson Fury was like, look, man, you're trying that bullshit. He was like, we're just 2 men fighting, whatever. That's kind of interesting to me, that like, I know there's a lot of racism and stuff and it's still a problem and stuff like that, but you have to, that kind of feels like progress to me, whereas like the black guy was trying to make it a race thing and the white guy was like, hey man, this ain't a fucking race thing.
I thought it was something deeper going on, or it's just like
Talk to us.
One dude was a really good marketer and the other one's like still trying to figure out how to market himself. It sucks that
he was trying to play heel there, or he was trying to make it, trying to sell it in some way.
I don't even think Deontay's that more complicated to understand heel hero. I think he honestly is just trying to promote, and he's okay at it. He ain't great. Like he's knocked out 42 people, and the country still kind of doesn't know him. You're like, and versus Fury, he is. I don't know if you ever study PR shit. That is the shit he did after he got up from that fucking. I mean, even before that shit, his whole pitching, like I got myself sober. I've had all these stories. He's one of the best storytelling motherfuckers I've ever met in my life. He can spin bullshit out of bullshit.
He's got personality too.
Exactly. Yeah. Deontay's not that guy. He's like, I'm gonna punch you. Yeah. All right. It's just like, it's not a race thing. It's one of those like, I mean, he just didn't know how to tell a good story.
But you know what?
If you tell a good story, shit.
If you look at the history of boxing, though, often that was the case. Well, it was like you look at Jack Johnson and then heavyweights after that. If there was like a great white hope, that's where the expression "great white hope" comes from. And you could feel people rooting for people based on racial. I don't feel like it's that. Maybe in a lot of places still like that. I don't feel it as much as I used to, because I used to feel it. Yeah. I used to feel it in like the 80s and 90s. You could feel, Peter McNeely. You know what I mean? Everyone's going like, this is going to be the guy to beat Tyson.
I honestly think the Mayweather and McGregor fight brought out race in a level that was like unparalleled.
See, for me, do you think so? Because
I thought that was
I think there's more nationalism too. Because I know just in the fight, I wanted Wilder to win just because he was American. Right. I'm rooting for an American. It's Deontay Wilder's American over Tyson. So I saw the country before I saw the race, which is both stupid things, but it's just how my brain works.
Do you think a lot of white people were rooting for McGregor, or because he was white, or because he was underdog, or because
I think the high.
Also, you got the Mayweather, but also Mayweather. Because I was rooting for Mayweather just because he was a boxer, and McGregor. I was rooting for Mayweather because McGregor talks so much shit.
I was rooting for Mayweather because he was American. I just think about being an American first.
Yeah,
is that wild? Is that racist? Even though I'm rooting for the black guys,
you're racist against other countries.
You're
a nationalist. I don't know.
I'm a nationalist.
No, you're a good foot soldier.
I'm a German national.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
gotta have teams. It makes things much more interesting.
Even though I know the whole construct is stupid,
but Mayweather also, you can't put aside his personality. I mean, he had those wife beating charges. He flaunts his money in everyone's face. He's not a great, lovable guy.
He consciously became a heel in order to make more money. Yeah, I see that. And McGregor consciously made himself a heel to make more money. That was the whole event. It was like there was 2 heels against each other. So you're like, well, how do we promote this?
But you think it did kind of around race? It always comes out?
It's because I couldn't help but notice how much they loved McGregor's effort against Mayweather. You were like, he wasn't that great.
But I mean, the thing is, McGregor was old, but he did touch him more than Canelo.
He did touch him.
Which is surprising.
But Canelo was really young. I actually admit that. I saw that recently.
But I mean, Canelo's at least a boxer. Canelo's like skilled fast. I mean, McGregor fucked Canelo up. Did Canelo even touch his face?
He didn't. I don't think he did.
I mean, McGregor at least hit him. I would say of all the fights, had anyone touched him, maybe Sugar Shane Mosley touched him a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah, he caught him.
Other than that, who the fuck has touched Mayweather like McGregor did? Yeah. So it's like there's some legitimacy to that too.
True, true. And I can't help but let go of the idea that like Mayweather did not train for that fight. He only kind of like kept himself in shape. He knew he had a lemon. He just knew he was gonna make more money. So I mean.
He probably even let it go those rounds to just say, I'm going to go this route, let him tire himself out. But that'll happen around the 6th, 7th, and like it'll put on a little bit of a show. And I mean, he's such a superior boxer to anyone who he faced. To me, he's the greatest boxer of all time. It's not even comparable because he barely got hit. Yeah, really. I mean, not only did he beat everyone, he barely even got hit.
My only issue with him calling him the greatest is just that like the other fighters who would be compared to him fought the people who would be problems. Like, for example, Sugar Ray Robinson fought motherfuckers who he had trouble with 5 different times. You know, he didn't get, like, Mayweather would never fight a motherfucker he's had trouble with 5 different times.
But who did he even have trouble with?
I feel like he had trouble with Sugar Shane at first.
And then he fucked Sugar Shane up.
True.
Sugar
true.
Shane was also on steroids.
He also delayed that motherfucker like 5 years after he should have. He delayed every fight that he should have had. He was like,
but then when he did fight, like that's the thing with Mayweather, you got to look for reasons. You're like, if he had fought Pacquiao, but then he fucked Pacquiao up. You know, when you look at the slow motion, it was a boring fight. He made it boring. That's the problem with Mayweather. He broke the code of boxing, and he's like, and he holds, and he's like, and he got that shell defense.
Fights like Jack Johnson.
Yeah, nobody could touch his face, and then he holds.
Jack Johnson, we did a whole episode on him.
He was
months ago.
Best, yeah.
Oh my God, watching videos because you were saying how the guy was beating you up, but also checking the NBA playoff games.
Yeah.
He was beating. Their footage of it, him beating the shit out of this guy, heavyweight title, talking to the guy's wife, flirting with women, or doing shit that was like he was like literally 30% destroying.
He almost seemed like he was taken from modern times and put back there. Like those are the people who push things forward because they're just bigger than the zeitgeist.
In my opinion, though, boxing hasn't like evolved much since the 1800s. You look at the forms they were doing then; they're not much different now. They're like our fighting is like it's not like basketball. Basketball is one of the things we had to figure out the last 100 years. Fighting we've been doing since day one.
So do you think like Jack Johnson could stand toe to toe with Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder now, and it'd be the same?
In my opinion,
an even fight
because of but I mean, people always like, oh, what about genetic and our bodies getting bigger? But
Jack Johnson was fucking as big as Deontay Wilder.
I know,
big fucking kid. Well, Deontay Wilder's 6'7".
Oh yeah, maybe not as big as Deontay Wilder.
But he was, Jack Johnson was like 6'2", 6'1". He was a big fucking kid.
And he didn't get hit. That's the thing. Like he wasn't. It's not like he was like getting rocked. He was holding. He was like one of the best grapplers standing up. So no, I think he.
But boxing was different then. I don't think they were as skilled.
The glove? No, I think they were. I think they were.
You think they were?
I mean, videotape to me makes you a better boxer. If you could watch yourself on tape, you're going to get a lot better. But
has Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua ever fought, or Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua ever fought?
AJ has run from everybody. That's the story. He's run from everybody.
Because Joshua has to fight Wilder or Fury now, right?
Fury now, yeah.
Fury's a beautiful boxer.
Yeah, Fury's gonna fuck him up.
Yeah, he's gonna fuck him up too. As long as he doesn't if he trains and everything like that, he's gonna fuck him up.
He's gonna fuck him up.
But here, to my point, tell me if I'm wrong though. It's like the Klitschko's dominated heavyweight division, which is the most popular division, the one that everyone talks about for a little while. Mayweather is the top grossing boxer. He's black,
right?
So it's like that's not all black people tuning in. Maybe it's white people tuning in to hate him. I don't know. But he's still a star. I'm just saying, like, it used to really be like everyone was rooting for the white guy no matter what, and they hated the black guy until a certain time. And now it's like the Klitschko's dominated. No white people were talking about like, hey, the whites are on top of it. I never heard it, never felt that.
There's a guy named Lomachenko who is considered the pound for pound best in white circles.
Right.
In white circles.
You mean Triple G?
No, about Lomachenko.
Lomachenko. Triple G's good too.
Triple G's really good.
Yeah.
I think he won against Canelo, but Lomachenko's amazing to watch.
So is that me coming from like a blind white perspective that
You're completely right about that because that's what the Rocky was the entire premise of Rocky was based off of let's see if this white guy can beat this black guy. It was that whole let's see if we can beat Ali.
So you're saying it's gotten better, it's just not all the way. There's still that.
I think it's still there. I mean,
right.
I honestly you watch
I
the
agree
UFC
with that.
fight. If you don't know anybody in the fight and it's a black and white guy, I'm automatically unconsciously going for the black guy just in case. I'm like, let's see, and then absolutely. But then if I actually know the guy, then I'm like,
It's so funny how much race in America has played out through sports a lot of times.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was that whole Celtics and the Celtics and the Pistons when Isaiah said that about Bird, but then Bird came and was like, whatever. And then Dennis Rodman supported Isaiah, and then everyone hated the Pistons. And, Larry was like the great white hope.
He was.
So it's always kind of played out in sports, this kind of like racial divide.
It's an interesting story. It sells tickets. It's movies.
It's the American story, man. We have this, it's the American story. Like who's more American than black people? My parents I'm not as American as you, right? Like, are you as American? You're not as American. What are you, German? Like,
European.
Yeah, you guys were doing something to Jews. Like, you're someone in your ancestors.
Your mom banged out David Dinkins.
Yeah, my mom probably did bang out. Well, David Dinkins definitely put his hand on my mom's leg. They were best friends in law school.
David Dinkins is the only American mayor.
Yeah, but you got probably 2 generations ago, you had someone who changed their name just so they said they weren't in Doc out.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Scene's gotta go.
Yeah, scene's gotta go. Anyway, we were just getting intense conversation too.
I know.
This is a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I like this. This is a different speed than our other ones, which is what we love about about our podcast.
Yeah, it goes.
Every episode is completely different.
Sometimes it's silly, and then sometimes we go into deeper shit.
Yeah, I do shit like this all the time. I'm not as silly as I used to be. I just like
You're silly and funny. I mean, you're silly and smart. So you could go one way or the other. You're silly and smart, like salty and sweet, savory and sweet.
Yeah.
You're two flavors.
He's just a put together kid, Seaton.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
See, you guys, our fans gotta check out this thing. It was one of my favorite. It was before like Rory Scovel like was really kind of known.
Yeah,
Seaton did this web series. He did web series way back before people were doing web series. And Rory played like the heel in it.
Yeah.
And Seaton plays this protagonist where he's like paranoid. There's people watching him, and it turns out that they are, but it's like a little funny too. It's really dope.
Thanks, man.
What was it called again?
It's called Annoy Charlie Smith.
Is it still around?
Yeah,
Can you
it's on
Google
YouTube.
Annoying Charlie Smith?
Annoy Charlie Smith. It was about a guy who discovers a multi-million-dollar organization whose sole purpose is just to annoy him. And so
it was really funny, but it was also like a thriller. It's a mix of a few genres.
It's a mixed bag.
It's fucking, it looks like the amazing part about it is back then, to shoot it back then too, when technology was still good, but it's not like it was now. And it looks like you had a crew. It looks like you had money. It looks like you had a budget.
Yeah.
But then when you talk about it, you're like, nah, man, that was me holding the camera. That was me edited it.
Yeah.
That was my girlfriend who played that. Rory, he's a comedian. Because I didn't know who Rory was. I didn't know who the other people were. I thought they were. I was like, damn, you must have like extras and a whole crew.
What year was that? Seaton, did you do that?
2008 and 9. I went to Montreal, and after I did Montreal, I noticed everybody had their own thing. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing. So in 2009, I released it. And it was fun to watch Rory and edit him and then put him in my thing and then like see him in that movie I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer and just feel justified. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, that wasn't crazy. This motherfucker's a genius.
Rory's one of those guys you hang out with him. It hits you immediately. Like, oh, this guy's a star.
Yeah.
And he has his own unique energy that like is Rory. There's like nobody that, and he's got that Bill Murray thing where he says, he takes a line
Yes.
and it's just a generic line. And he just puts a person, he soaks it in his personality, and it's funny, and it's a je ne sais quoi. You can't say why. There's no formula to it. It's all his personality. It's his soul or whatever he does. He just wraps it in his personality. It's just only Rory can deliver it like that.
Yeah.
He's got that. It's kind of like a Bill Murray thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So where people find you? What can they do? Got shows coming up. What do you got to promote?
What do I got to promote? Let's see. Something fun I'm doing. I did this cool commercial series with Jay Williams and Neil Brennan. And we're doing like a parody of SportsCenter. So during March Madness, we did like 40 different commercials where we'll have spots around. So if you watch March Madness, you're going to see me doing this thing called
That's awesome. So that'll be on the air.
Any live
during
dates
March
coming up? Live dates?
Live dates. Yeah, I'm doing Governors of all places in April. And April 3rd and 4th. And then,
GovsComedy.com.
Yeah, man. But for the most part, I'm being in town just, recording a lot of these this week at the Cellar stuff.
SeatonSmith.com.
SeatonSmith.com.
Check out Seaton, one of the funniest guys around. Good friend of mine. Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, check us out, HistoryHyenas.com, ChristyComedy.com, YannisPopsComedy.com. Live shows, Gramercy Theater, March 19th and April 29th, Wall Street Theater, Norwalk, Connecticut.
Yeah.
You!
Follow us at History Hyenas on Instagram. Make sure you leave a review on iTunes. Thank you very much.
Peace.